welcome to the In a Nutshell podcast with myself, Andrew Miles Davis, and my co-host Chris Branch. This is the daily 10-minute podcast where we take out all of the techie talk around generative AI and focus on what the everyday person, content creator, and marketer wants to hear. Now, we've only got 10 minutes, so we can only focus on one particular subject. And today we're going to talk about a subject based on a video that we just seen from OpenAI. And it is about a new robot that they've created. I can say that over the last year, I've seen a lot of these robots that's coming out. I've seen robot dogs. I've seen robots that can do backflips and do kung fu stuff. I've also seen people pretending these robots can do certain things, and you can tell that they've just kind of superimposed someone or superimposed a robot on someone's actually doing. But this robot looks very, very interesting because the video is somebody speaking to the robot, and it's got certain items in front of him on a table. And well, I say him, but the robot, I should say. And it's saying to the robot, describe what you see. And it's describing it. It's also speaking at the man, explaining what he's doing. And the whole point of this robot is brought to you by OpenAI, and it's powered by ChatGPT. I don't know what version. It looks like either 4 or probably 5, but they've just not released it to the public yet. Mm-hmm. So what we wanted to do is we just wanted to kind of just discuss what, like, our thoughts on these robots and where we think they are going. Is it a gimmick? Is it a genius idea? Is it a game changer? Is it a mixture of both? So, Chris, what do you think about these AI robots?
Yeah, they are definitely the future. You know, the software revolution has happened and is happening and will continue to happen. But the physical revolution is really where a lot of the tasks are in the physical world. You know, they're not just on our computers. And over the years, like, we've seen viral videos from Boston Dynamics, which was a really big company that do, like, you know, the one you described, the robot jumping and stuff. And by the way, I actually watched a documentary on that, and it took them 4 hours to get a 30-second clip. So talking about setting themselves up, you know, and, you know, showing it more capable of what it is, etc. You're absolutely right. Like, you know, it was all a big thing to demonstrate its best, but it failed like 99.9% of those jumps, which is hilarious, you know, but that's, I suppose, the robot life. But yeah, like, my general thoughts on this are, it's not surprising to me that OpenAI, who's the best software AI, is starting to make physical robots. And especially because we've seen the Tesla bot and others that are coming out. The weird thing that I find is that they're all humanoids. You know, like, mostly they're, apart from the dogs, you know, they're generally human shaped, but I don't understand why that needs to be the case for packaging a warehouse, for example, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they can be shaped like anything.
Do you think they're making it humanoid because of what we see in films? It's almost like to say, let's make it humanoid because that's what the general public are. When they think of robots, if you had to just draw a robot from if you're a kid to an adult, you kind of draw it in that human type, like, look.
I honestly don't know why they do it, because I find it's more scary to have a human-looking robot than to look, you know, completely different from us. It might be just as capable, but if I see something that looks like me that isn't quite me, it's going to be a lot more scary than, like, a thing that looks like, you know, a ladder or something.
Yeah, but I think it's like, because this is a very good point. Now, I know that you've got one of those, say, robot hoovers. But what is interesting, that doesn't look like an actual person with a hoover hoovering around.
Exactly.
You know, is yours like a circle? Is it like a circle?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just a little circle. It kind of, like, walks around like a dog, I suppose, a little bit, you know. But yeah, essentially it's mapping using LiDAR where our room is, and then understanding the surfaces it needs to clean. And then I have a little app where I can tell it, oh, this is a place I don't want you to go because you get stuck on the carpet, etc., etc.
Interesting. I guess, because the thing, what I think about when I see these robots, beyond, okay, we're really kind of looking at the future now, is what do we need them for? And let me explain this. Yes, we can use certain robots or certain AIs to do certain things, which we're seeing in a day-to-day basis now. But what do you need an actual robot for that looks like a human? Is it to do human tasks,
Mm.
or like why? Because like I said, the robot for hoovering that circle makes sense,
Yep.
but I just think bringing out a humanoid robot to do what let's say for example to work in a warehouse
Mhm.
is actually that the best shape to do it, or are these robots going to be more B2B rather than B2C when it comes to humanoid
Good
robots?
question. It's a really good question. Like, I'm imagining that what they're trying to do is think far into the future, where you have a general purpose house robot that's also like a companion, like a friend.
Mm,
So then you would want it to look like you. But, in the everyday tasks, like you said, it is a lot harder to make it human shaped than
yeah,
the thing that it's designed to do, like circular for hoovering or
yeah,
whatever. But I guess
yeah,
the general purpose of the robot is the reason, maybe.
mm.
That's just a guess. Like, I really don't know otherwise.
Yeah, I think that what you just said there about that companion, because at the moment they look like a robot.
Yeah, right, right.
Silver looks like what you would imagine if I said what would a robot look like, or if you went into Mid Journey and type in prompt robot, draw
Yeah,
a robot on the beach, it will probably
yeah.
look what you would think. Um, but what will happen? I can see the next stage is when they start making them look like a real person. And
Mm,
then the stage after that, you can design what they look like. And that's when you kind of getting into that quite very scary realm of replacing humans or having that human connection with somebody who you can program to like you, to
mm,
annoy you if you want if you want that, if that's what makes you makes you click. um you can get them to do all types of things. I think that's probably where it's likely to go from a house robot, as well as doing little bits and pieces like washing up or
mm.
unwashing the dishwasher, unpacking the dishwasher.
Yeah,
But as we were speaking offline, you mentioned about unpacking the dishwasher, and that's
yeah.
not an easy task to do.
No, not at all.
Mm,
Not at all. It's like everything we do as humans, we find trivial, because we're so good at it, because of the things that we've been given, the way that we are born and grow up and learn tasks and have a thumb. And it, like that differentiates us from all apes instantly.
mm,
This like thumb that we've got, so it's not a trivial thing at all to pick up something, manipulate it, have fine motor skills, place it exactly, especially if it's like fine dining crockery that you don't want smashed into a million pieces. Because
yeah.
a robot could
Yeah.
easily just, grip it too hard or drop it too fast or, not realize there's a wet surface there and it could slip. Or they could knock the table with all
Mm,
the stuff and it all falls off. Like,
yeah,
it
yeah.
really, there's a long way to go, just like there is with autonomous driving, whereby it can have zero crashes. There's no allowable crashes when it's AI, but humans crash every day. So
Yeah.
like we're going to want the same amount from our robot because it's going to be very expensive in the house initially.
Mm,
If you buy a $10,000 home robot, you're going to want it to do all of the cleaning and the cooking and the ironing and all that stuff, and you're going to want to not make it have any issue because
yeah,
if either of those two things are an issue, it's going to be sent back to the factory.
yeah. Yeah. Forget all lawsuits and everything that could potentially happen as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, I think that this essentially, because if you look at how it's kind of developed, OpenAI or any generative AI or any AI is the brain. And then it's a case of what is the layer around it.
Mm.
If you look at cartoons, was it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles where they had the brain and it was like like I think it was called Crane or something like
Yeah,
that.
I think
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think you
yeah.
might
You
be
had like
right.
and
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
kind of like, but it was the brain that was the thing behind it, and that's
yeah,
essentially what it is. If you look at your phone, once AI properly gets in the phone, it's the brain that's in the phone, and the layer around it is the phone. So,
yeah.
so then eventually it's going to get the layer around it is going to be a robot. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see which one wins. Is it a case of more human type humanoid robots? Is it
Mm,
a case of having just those small little devices that's attached to you? Because it's still the brain, it will still do the
mm.
same things, really, apart from physical things, which you don't need a robot for that. That's why we have machines. And
Yeah,
so, but if you put that brain in a machine, it can still do the same thing without looking like
exactly.
a human.
And we made an episode earlier on in the year about CES, which is like the tech thing, where a lot
Mm.
of their products had AI built into them.
Yeah.
And they are coming from the other side. They're not making the brain first, they're making the tech and then inserting a brain into it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting way where physical meets software, and so I suppose in a nutshell for this one, we're a long way away from having a humanoid robot that can do everything we want, but
Mm.
they're certainly working on it.
Yep, it's certainly working on it. And if you can, check out the OpenAI video on the robot. It's on my LinkedIn page. By the time you hear this, it'll be on my LinkedIn page.